Hello everyone. I'm really sorry I can't be with you today live. After managing to avoid COVID for 2.5 years, it's finally got me. So hopefully my voice will hold out, and please excuse it if it does anything funny. So the climate and ecological crisis are the biggest challenges we face today. We are en route to see catastrophic impacts of climate by 2050. Catastrophic not being my word, but the IPCC's. And the outlook is similarly poor for nature. We've already seen a 24% decrease in wildlife since 1994, which, giving away my age here, was the year I was born, so not too long ago. This is not only bad news for our planet, but increasingly they are both growing root causes of social injustice. For example, food and water shortages affecting the poorest in society, and the effects of eco anxiety on mental health. And we see the impacts more and more each day. Now, I know not the most uplifting start, and I don't say this to depress you, although I won't blame you. Instead, I wanted to highlight how incredibly important it is for decision making that happens in regards to climate and nature is diverse and most importantly involves young people. I'd go far to say that it's arguably the most important for young generations and future generations as they will see the brunt of inaction and unsustainable decision making. For years now, we've seen the passion and want from young people to be involved in decision making, particularly within the climate change sphere, and this includes being involved in how we use our land. Land use plays a huge role not only in climate mitigation but also our adaptation to climate change and is our biggest ally in preventing future loss and damages. So we've got the why, but now the how. What does youth involvement in environmental decision making look like? Well, for me, it has many faces and should be seen at all levels with the aim of mainstreaming youth participation throughout an organisation or sector's work. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the possibilities as I've only got about 7 minutes left, and to be honest, some we are as a sector quite good at, and particularly in Scotland. We see pretty good initial engagement with children, getting them out into nature either through schools, youth groups, or family outings. Outdoor nature, education, volunteering opportunities, and employment are all seeing improvements, and we've seen them rise up the political agenda. There are also some really amazing co-designed or youth-led projects out there, such as Scotland's Young People's Forest, with the likes of YouthLink and NatureScot teaming up with environmental organisations to offer opportunities for young people to influence how these big bodies work on various youth-related projects. We're also getting a better idea of how young people interact with the outdoors, their thoughts on climate change, and what they want to see for Scotland's nature and the future through evidence and data collection. But what we're here to discuss today is that point at the top there, integrating young people into decision making. One way in which you can do it is through an advisory panel, a separate group of young people that advises an organisation or decision making board on what young people think. 2018 was the year of young people. NatureScot and Young Scot established Reroute, Scotland's youth biodiversity panel. These guys did a number of things, including running events, co-designing campaigns, and developing a fund. They also worked with us to devise some recommendations on how to ensure NatureScot was better at engaging young people. These included some of those lower level activities such as running competitions, improving our online presence, as well as improving our volunteering and youth employment, and higher level actions like integrating young people into our governance. While the panel no longer exists, I still like to talk about them because the work they did has been incredibly instrumental to NatureScot and other partner organisations who have taken on their recommendations, and they still drive our work with young people today. For example, our two national parks have followed suit, both having youth panels. Another approach, which granted is a little trickier and people are more hesitant towards, is recruiting young people directly into your decision making. Under 30s make up less than 3% of all charity trustees. 18 to 24-year-olds make up less than 0.5%. In terms of publicly appointed boards for public bodies like NatureScot, the picture is just as bleak with only 18% of board members under 50 years old. Having a young board member or a young person on a panel or committee, or even a young employee on your senior leadership team or program steering groups, whatever you want to call them, basically ensures that there is a diversity of age throughout a governance structure, building in diversity in all decision making, not just decisions that directly concern young people. At NatureScot, we have a young employee panel with members attending the organisation's board meetings to help bring in the youth voice into all strategic decision making. There are many benefits to having young people on a board, panel, or committee. A diverse board can lead to decision making being more reflective of a wider population. Alternatively, it can also go beyond the represented population and lead by example. For example, if you're working with a particularly non-diverse group, demonstrating diversity towards the top can have an effect on the makeup of that group further down. So people look for other people that represent them in decision making, people who look like them, and if they are already there, this can encourage diverse people to come into a group. Different people can also bring in different networks as well as knowledges, opening programs and projects up to new communities. Furthermore, diverse groups are collectively smarter. It's been found that diversity trumps ability. So diversity leads to more robust decision making, with groups being better at critical assessments and picking up risks and sensitivities, identifying opportunities, and coming up with more imaginative solutions. And then there's also the benefits to the young person that's recruited. They develop skills and experience in governance and strategic decision making that is not easily found in education or early career positions. I am one such example. I was on the NatureScot Young Employee panel and attended board meetings, even helping to write and present a board paper. This experience gave me the skills and confidence, and now I'm a trustee and non-executive board member of Changeworks, one of Scotland's largest environmental charities. And if you did the maths earlier, you'll know that I'm now one of those 3% under 30. Now, this is all making a lot of sense to me, and hopefully it is to you too. So, why is there still a lack of youth participation in governance? Well, it's honestly not easy. There are systematic barriers that prevent young people and other groups from engaging in decision making. Some things are as simple as timing of meetings. Most decision-making processes happen during the workday. However, this isn't particularly accessible for young people who might be studying or have jobs that don't allow them to take the time off. Some are a little bit more difficult in that a certain amount of skills and knowledge may be needed for certain topics, and there currently isn't the support in place to help young people develop these. Really, most barriers come down to time and money, much like everything else. However, this shouldn't stop you either making changes yourself or pushing for change with others. Many of the best things do require more upfront resources, but they often lead to long-term savings and as mentioned, more robust and sustainable outcomes. Finally, just a little bit about what you can do as a young person. So a few places to start. You can join a youth-led group. These will often have their own governance and decision-making structures within them where you can get the skills and experience. You can also seek out experiences from within your own school or workplace, like a young employee network or even a union. And if they don't already exist, you could always set up your own one. Look for opportunities in the nature and climate space. There may be co-design projects such as those offered on the NatureScot website, or by bodies such as the Young Trustee movement, which supports young people into getting their first trustee position. And as for youth workers, I would just say that strategic and decision making is a valuable skill for young people, but it's not offered or often found in education or early career positions. So think about how you can help young people to develop this skill, either by supporting them in the options I just mentioned, or whether there are ways that you can help create a space for developing such a skill. For example, having a young panel for your group or project, or design projects that might have governance structures within them. So I'm really sorry that I can't be there for the Q&A to explore all of this a bit further, but myself and my team at NatureScot are very happy to chat with anyone and everyone who would like to. My details are there on the screen. Thank you.